The future of the RCMP is a little clearer tonight after a new promise from the federal government that the Mounties will remain in British Columbia communities as a contract police force. For more on that, let's bring in Rob Shaw at the BC Legislature. So, Rob, you got a hold of this unreleased letter. What are the implications here?
Well, Stacey, the RCMP are here to stay, according to this letter, which hasn't been seen before, but was recently sent from Ottawa to the BC government, confirming that the Mounties will stay in frontline policing and not, as a lot of people speculated, move entirely to become a kind of FBI of the North style federal police force focused on things like cybercrime and terrorism. This letter says the Mounties will, in fact, stay on the ground in contract policing. That is good news for communities like Nanaimo, Tofino, the West Shore, many BC towns and cities that rely on the RCMP as part of a provincial contract that BC was worried it might not be able to renew in the years ahead. This letter from Federal Public Safety Minister Dominic LeBlanc informs BC Solicitor General Mike Farnworth, "I want to assure you that I and the federal government as a whole are committed to honor our contract policing obligations and that I commit to working with provinces and territories on our approach to the renegotiations of agreements when it comes to policing in your jurisdiction today and beyond 2032. Now, part of the confusion over the RCMP's future stemmed from a mandated review by the Prime Minister and stories out of Ottawa that the government wanted it to refocus into that specialized federal policing. Premier David Eby and other premiers demanding clarity for a year now, complaining they're going to need a lot of time to create their own provincial police forces if the RCMP are getting out of that business. Eby still skeptical, but the RCMP union today relieved. Here they are.
It is definitely a confusing message from the federal government. We've had very clear communications from the top levels of the federal government that it's their intent to get away from this contract policing model and focus the RCMP as a federal police force like the FBI in the United States. And so it's really hard to know which direction we're going on that. We're going to do our best to ensure there's clarity for British Columbians to make sure that they have good and effective policing response.
Well, I think the language is pretty clear. And that is that, you know, if you want the RCMP, we're here to stay. So let's start discussing what the future looks like. And you know, I don't think the minister could have said it any better.
One of the big outstanding issues, though, remains the vacancy rate in the RCMP, around 20%. Premier Eby said he is frustrated that they've already spent $230 million provincially to fill 270 vacancies in the RCMP, but there's another 240 Mounties vacant that remain, Stacey, so there's still a lot of money that might have to spent there to bring them up to speed. That said, this letter does provide the idea of more flexibility in the RCMP in the future to meet local demands, to focus the way local communities want, which could be a good thing for those communities that want to stay with the RCMP.